And then I drag that brake. And then you want to be very careful that you don't get too early on the throttle, because you're gonna get loose real easy on these corners. So I'm like at 30% throttle right there. I'm holding it until I start to see the clearing there, and I don't get full throttle till my wheel is pretty much straight. Hi everyone, this is Josh with Finding Speed Now. I have another track guide for you. This time it is for Bristol, and we are going to go ahead and jump into the car and go through that normal progression of, we're going to look at the front brake bias. I think it starts at 65% again here. Let's see. No. Bristol was at the top. Yeah, so it starts at 65. I put it down to 62 because the O'Reilly cars are a bit tight usually. We will go ahead and jump into our car here. So there's multiple different lines you can actually run on Bristol. People tend to like that kind of that high line. It's a little bit more forgiving. You can carry a little bit more speed, kind of, and get that good runoff. It's a little bit more forgiving because you don't have to like hold back on the throttle like you do with running it low. So like running it low, you have to be real careful with the trail braking, which is super important. Just like 10%, and then you have to hold the throttle. If you get on it too early like that, you get a little loose real easy. But again, a little bit too early. And hold that throttle and push like that. So the other line that you can run for qualification, you kind of start at the middle, you push up high, use the throttle to bring yourself down, and throttle through. It's not really recommended for long run, because you're going to be burning your tires pretty bad. But for qualification, it does seem to get you some pretty good speed. And I have seen people do some pretty good lap times doing that. Doesn't seem to work as well for me. I do typically like to do this lower line, holding the throttle and getting out on it like that. So let's go ahead and jump into the replay real quick, go over a little bit of analysis. Coming out of the pits. So again, with the initial come out, you definitely want to go up the middle, kind of get to the top of the track in the center. Probably even a little bit higher than what I did there. And you're going to be just like dragging the brakes with like 10 to 15% brake. So it's important to make sure that if you are doing the high lane, you come down just a little bit, get to that middle. I come up a little bit, and then I use the throttle to kind of come back down in the center of the corner. So once we get up here, I start getting back on the throttle, and it allows me to rotate and get down and out of the corner. I think some people can be a little bit more consistent that way with getting good lap times. So then this one, I'm doing the low line. And in terms of references, it does seem like at least on 1 and 2, kind of where this color drops off, the black and white, is where I think I start to let off, or shortly after. Let's see. A little bit later than that. So right there. And then I drag that brake. And then you want to be very careful that you don't get too early on the throttle, because you're gonna get loose real easy on these corners. So I'm like at 30% throttle right there. I'm holding it until I start to see the clearing there. And I don't get full throttle till my wheel is pretty much straight. You can see that it's just a little bit to the left, just pointing down the... And as soon as I'm at full throttle, then it's straight. I probably had a little bit too much steering at full throttle. That's why I had that little bit of a correction on that one specifically. Drag the brake. Come up with the throttle. So again, I think I had a little bit of steering when I got, yeah. You can see there, I had too much steering with my increased throttle. So right there, I'm still steering pretty hard. So I got a little bit over eager with my throttle input. And then that caused that little bit of looseness as I came out of the corner there and had to correct it. Yeah, so I did that several times, being too eager on the throttle out of the corner with my steering. Let's see if I get a good one here. That was better. Wasn't quite as bad. And that was a little bit late on the throttle. I was like really straight. So as I come out, I'm like almost halfway down the line there. So I definitely could have straightened out and gave the throttle at the same time there. Like, you can see how that line here, I kind of come up, and then as I give it throttle, the car just starts turning down. But it's because you're dragging the brake, allowing you to get the right braking point. If you are braking too late, you won't come down and you're going to hit the wall. So that's the one thing you want to kind of watch out for. So let's go ahead and go a little bit longer run real quick. And for the longer run, like I kind of said a little bit earlier, you want to kind of prioritize what you can consistently do. If you can't run this low line and not keep your rear end from sliding out, then you're going to want to run higher. If you can't hold that throttle like that and come out, nice, keep those tires planted under you the whole time. You're definitely going to want to run a little higher so you can prioritize not sliding. Little wall bump. Whoop, a little bit. See, that's what I don't want there. You gotta keep those tires planted with no slide when you're doing that low line. If we go back up to do the high line, ooh, a little bit too much there. Again, too much speed going in there. Gotta readjust. Brake a little bit earlier. There we go. That sliding up and then down, which long run you don't want to do that. That's for qualification. See if we can hold that line nice and high with a nice smooth throttle. You're able to hold a little bit better throttle and manage it without sliding as much doing the high line. And the reason why you're able to do that is the progressive banking that Bristol has. It's not all the same. The higher you are, the more banking it has. That's like here. Long brake drag, just easy on that throttle, be very patient with it. Don't get over eager and spin those tires. The high line again. A little bit too much sliding there. Okay. So that, with that little incident, we'll go ahead and go look at the replay a little bit. See if we can find some improvements we can do and point out some things as we go through. So let's go. So for the brake drag, you can see it's like that 15%. And then on that middle line there, you can hold about 50% throttle going through. As long as you're braking in that right point, right as the banking is starting. Slid up a little bit there, not too bad. And once you're straight, you can give that full throttle. And again, holding 50%-ish on that high line. The low line, we just slowly progressed up. That was a much better example on how to do that. So I brake dragged that 15% and then started at like 20-30% and was able to slowly increase as my steering angle decreased. There we go. That's a much better corner there. And staying nice and low there, not too aggressive with the throttle. As the car straightens, my throttle's increasing. And once I'm straight, I'm full throttle. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this track guide for Bristol, and I hope you guys check back for the next one, and we do next week. And again, let me know if there's anything specific you guys like me to cover. I'd like to be able to do some more videos, create some more content for you guys. I enjoy doing this and look forward to hopefully seeing you on the track.